My fiancé confessed, "I'm only marrying you for a green card." I smiled and said, "I know, that's the plan." Her face went pale at the wedding when my best man, the immigration officer I'd been working with, put his hand on her shoulder. I, 29 male, met Natalia, 26, 18 months ago at a startup networking event. She was brilliant, charming, and had this accent that made everything sound like poetry. Ukrainian, working here on an expiring work visa. We hit it off immediately, or so I thought. 6 months in, she moved into my apartment. Everything seemed perfect. She cooked these amazing dishes from her homeland, laughed at my terrible jokes, met my family. My mom adored her. My sister kept saying I'd won the lottery. And then about 10 months into dating, she started dropping hints about her visa situation. How stressed she was, how she might have to leave. I offered to help her find an immigration lawyer, look into visa extensions. That's when she suggested we could just get married. It would solve everything, she said with those big brown eyes. I was actually considering proposing anyway, so I went along with it. Got a ring, did the whole romantic proposal thing at our favorite restaurant. She cried, posted it everywhere on social media. Her friends back home were thrilled. But here's where it gets interesting. 2 weeks after our engagement, I came home early from work with food poisoning. Heard her on the phone in our bedroom, speaking rapid Ukrainian. I know a bit. My college roommate was Ukrainian and taught me some basics. She was telling someone named Victor that the stupid American had proposed, that everything was going according to plan, and that in 2 years after she got her permanent green card, she'd divorce me and bring him over. She literally said, and I quote, "Because this burned into my brain. He's so naive, thinks I actually love him, but he has good credit and a tech job. Perfect sponsor." I stood there in my hallway, holding my stomach, trying not to throw up from both the food poisoning and what I was hearing. She laughed, actually laughed about how I cried during the proposal. I went back outside, sat in my car for 20 minutes, then came back in making noise. She greeted me with a kiss and concern about my illness. Oscar-worthy performance. That night, while she slept, I went through her phone. Yeah, I know, invasion of privacy and all that. But what I found, Victor wasn't just some friend. He was her boyfriend of 4 years. There were photos, intimate messages, plans for their future together once she secured her American status. Their last video call was that morning. While I was at work, she was telling this dude she loved him. I had 2 options. Confront her immediately or play the long game. I chose the long game. The next day, I contacted my cousin Rodriguez, who happens to work for ICE. Told him everything. He said marriage fraud is a federal crime, punishable by up to 5 years in prison and $250,000 in fines. He asked if I was willing to help build a case. Hell yes, I was. For the next 8 months, I documented everything, every conversation where she mentioned her visa, every text to Victor. I learned her phone password. Every time she transferred money to him in Ukraine. Every fake "I love you" while she texted him that she loved him. Rodriguez guided me through it all. Told me what to document, what to save. We built a file thicker than my work laptop. The wedding planning was the worst part. She wanted extravagant everything, knowing I'd pay. Demanded a specific venue, designer dress, expensive photographer, total bridezilla. Her entitlement went through the roof once that ring was on her finger. Started talking about our money, making plans for our future, while texting Victor about their actual future plans. She even had the audacity to insist her cousin, Volodymyr, be at the wedding. Guess what? Volodymyr was Victor. She was going to have her real boyfriend at our fake wedding. 3 days before the wedding, she sat me down and said, "I need to be honest with you. I'm only marrying you for a green card." She said it like she was doing me a favor by being truthful. Explained how it was a win-win. I get a beautiful wife for a few years, she gets to stay in America. She'd be the perfect wife, she promised. Just don't expect it to last forever. I smiled and said, "I know, that's the plan." Her face went white. "What?" "Natalia, I've known since February, about Victor, about everything." She tried to recover, started crying, saying I misunderstood. Then when that didn't work, she got angry. Threatened to leave, to expose me for entrapping her. I stayed calm. "The wedding's in 3 days. Your family already flew in from Ukraine. Expensive tickets, non-refundable. You sure you want to cancel?" She looked at me with pure calculation in her eyes. You're bluffing. Maybe. Guess we'll find out at the altar. She didn't leave. The entitlement was too strong. She really thought she could still pull this off, that I was too in love or too weak to do anything. Wedding day arrived. Beautiful venue she'd insisted on. All our friends and family there. Her mom crying in the front row. Victor sitting 3 rows back as Cousin Volodymyr. Rodriguez stood next to me as my best man, looking sharp in his suit. Natalia knew him as my cousin Bobby, who worked in government logistics. The ceremony was perfect until the judge asked if anyone objected. That's when Rodriguez stepped forward, pulled out his badge, and said, "I do. Agent Rodriguez, Immigration and Customs Enforcement. Miss Natalia, you're under investigation for marriage fraud." The look on her face, the complete shock, the way her eyes darted to Victor, who was already trying to leave but found 2 other agents blocking his exit. But here's the thing. We went through with the ceremony. Rodriguez explained to the stunned crowd that this was part of an ongoing investigation, and we needed to complete the ceremony for legal purposes. The judge, who'd been briefed beforehand, continued. Natalia stood there shaking as we exchanged vows, the same vows she'd practiced so perfectly. When it came time to kiss the bride, I leaned in and whispered, "Smile for the cameras, this is all evidence now." The reception was canceled, obviously. Natalia was taken in for questioning. Victor too. Her family was in hysterics. My family, well, they were shocked but supportive when I explained everything. Update 1. Holy hell, the last 2 weeks have been insane. First, the legal stuff. Natalia was charged with marriage fraud and conspiracy to commit immigration fraud. Victor was charged as a co-conspirator since they found evidence he was planning to use her status to immigrate too. Because we technically completed the ceremony, she's legally my wife, which made the evidence even more damning. But the entitlement didn't stop there. Oh no, it got worse. Her mother called me the day after the wedding, crying and begging, then screaming when I wouldn't help. Then she tried to guilt me by saying I'd ruined her daughter's life, and that in their culture, this brought shame on their entire family. I reminded her that in American culture, fraud is a crime. Natalia, out on bail, showed up at my apartment 4 days post-wedding with her lawyer. Not to apologize, to demand alimony. Since we were technically married, her lawyer argued she was entitled to spousal support. The balls on this woman. My lawyer, different from Rodriguez, obviously, shut that down real quick. Marriages entered into fraudulently can be annulled, and you can't profit from your own crime. But she didn't stop there. She went on social media, posting this sob story about how I trapped her, how I was abusive and controlling, how I worked with ICE to destroy an innocent immigrant's dreams. Some of her friends started harassing me online. One even showed up at my workplace, causing a scene in the lobby before security removed them. Then came the best part. Victor turned on her, completely. When faced with federal charges, he sang like a canary, provided emails, texts, even recordings of their phone calls, planning the whole thing. Turns out this wasn't their first rodeo. They'd tried this scam in Canada 2 years ago, but got cold feet. Rodriguez told me Victor's testimony included details about how Natalia had researched me specifically. My salary, my credit score, my family situation. She'd targeted me at that networking event. It wasn't random. She knew I worked in tech, knew I was single, knew I was financially stable. She'd done her homework. The prosecutor offered her a plea deal, plead guilty, serve 18 months, then deportation. Her lawyer advised her to take it. She refused. She wanted a trial. She genuinely believed she could convince a jury that I was the real villain here. That's the level of entitlement we're dealing with. Her family started a GoFundMe for her legal defense, claiming she was a victim of the American legal system. It raised $3,000 before GoFundMe shut it down for violating their terms about funding legal defense for crimes. Last Thursday, she did something that still blows my mind. She contacted my mother, went to her house, cried on her doorstep about how she really did love me, how this was all a misunderstanding. My mom, bless her, recorded the whole thing on her Ring doorbell and sent it to my lawyer. In the recording, Natalia literally admits to the marriage fraud while trying to get my mom to convince me to drop the charges. My mom's response? "Honey, I liked you, but you played my son for a fool, and worse, you played me for a fool. Get off my porch before I call the cops myself. The trial date was set for next month. Her lawyer dropped her after she refused the plea deal and kept posting on social media against his advice. She had to get a public defender. Victor, meanwhile, took a deal. Pled guilty, got 12 months and deportation. He's already serving his sentence. Update 2. The trial just ended yesterday. I need a drink or 10. Natalia represented herself for part of it after firing her public defender for being incompetent, aka telling her she had no case. Watching her try to cross-examine me was something else. Her, "Isn't it true you told me you loved me?" "Yes, before I knew you were scamming me." "So you lied?" "Me no, I believed it was true at the time." "But you continued saying it after February." "Me, under instruction from federal agents to maintain the investigation." "So you admit you deceived me?" "Judge, Miss Natalia, deceiving someone who is committing fraud against you is not a crime." She tried to submit character witnesses, friends who would testify she was a good person. The prosecutor submitted her text messages calling Americans stupid and easy targets. She tried to claim Victor was just a friend. The prosecutor played a recording of their phone sex session that Victor had provided. She tried to say, "I forced her into marriage." The prosecutor showed her social media posts celebrating the engagement, the ring, the wedding planning. But the nail in the coffin? Remember that GoFundMe her family started? Well, the prosecutor found messages where she was telling people to donate because once she won the lawsuit, she'd pay them back double from the settlement she'd get from suing me and the government. She was running another scam while on trial for fraud. The jury deliberated for 2 hours. Guilty on all charges. The sentencing was last week. The judge gave her 3 years in federal prison, followed by deportation and a permanent ban from entering the United States. She has to pay $15,000 in fines too. Her reaction? She screamed that this was discrimination, that I was a monster, that the system was rigged against immigrants. As they led her away, she yelled that she'd destroy my life when she got out. The judge added 6 months for contempt of court. Our marriage was officially annulled last month. Fastest divorce ever, technically. The aftermath. My workplace had to increase security after more of her friends tried to protest there. I had to change my phone number after getting hundreds of calls and texts from random numbers. Her mother sent me a bill for the plane tickets and hotel for the wedding. Someone, definitely her friends, left a dead fish in my mailbox. My car got keyed with snitch. A Ukrainian Facebook group put me on blast as an enemy of immigrants. But you know what? Worth it. Rodriguez told me that the investigation led to uncovering a whole ring of marriage fraud schemes. 15 other couples are now under investigation. Natalia and Victor were just part of a larger operation. I'm in therapy now, working through the trust issues. Dating is complicated. How do you explain this story to someone new? Oh yeah, my ex-wife tried to scam me for a green card, so I worked with federal agents to send her to prison. Pass the breadsticks? But I'm oddly at peace with it all. She made her choices. She targeted me, used me, laughed about me behind my back with her real boyfriend. She thought I was weak and stupid. She thought wrong. The best part? Last week I got a letter from Victor through his lawyer. He wanted to apologize and warn me that Natalia's friends were planning something. He seems genuinely remorseful, or maybe he's just trying to reduce his sentence. Either way, I forwarded it to Rodriguez. To anyone reading this who might be in a similar situation, trust your gut. If something feels off, it probably is. Document everything. And don't let anyone make you feel guilty for protecting yourself from fraud. And Natalia, if you somehow see this from federal prison, orange really isn't your color. Edit. For those asking, yes, this is all real. Yes, I have trust issues now. No, I'm not dating anyone. Yes, my family still supports me. No, I don't regret any of it. And yes, cousin Volodymyr really thought he could sit at my wedding and watch his girlfriend marry me for papers. The audacity still amazes me. My fiancé confessed days before the wedding, "I don't actually believe in marriage." I said, "Good to know." Then I called all the guests, canceled the venue, and put the non-refundable honeymoon tickets up for sale. Her frantic, "I was just scared" calls went straight to voicemail. I, 32 male, am still kind of numb, but also weirdly calm. Like when you get a really bad cut and it just doesn't hurt yet. 4 days ago, Wednesday, we were doing a final walkthrough of the venue. Flowers ordered, caterer paid, my suit tailored, her dress probably costing more than my first car. You know, wedding stuff. My fiancée, let's call her Sarah, 29F, had been a bit quiet that day. Figured it was just wedding jitters. We've been together 5 years, engaged for 1. This wasn't a whirlwind romance. This was, I thought, solid. We're in the car on the way back. I'm talking about some last-minute RSVPs, and she just blurts it out. Alan, I need to tell you something. I don't actually believe in marriage. I just stared. Come again? Like the institution. Lifelong commitment, all of it. I love you, but I'm not sure I believe in forever, you know? I let that sink in. Traffic was light, the silence was heavy. And you're telling me this now? 9 days before we're supposed to sign a legal document promising exactly that in front of 150 people? I know the timing is awful. I just got scared. I thought I could do it for you, for us, but it feels wrong, dishonest. My brain went into hyperlogical mode. Emotional reaction? Sure, it was there, a dull ache starting. But mostly, it was like a switch flipped. Me, good to know. That was it. That's all I said. She started to cry. Alan, please, we can still be together. We don't need a piece of paper. I didn't respond. Pulled up to her apartment. We don't live together yet. Thank God for small mercies. Aren't you going to say anything else? Alan, talk to me. Me, I think you've said enough, Sarah, for both of us. She got out, looked like she expected me to follow, to argue, to plead. I just drove off. Got home, poured a very large whiskey, and then I started making calls. Venue, called them up, lost the deposit, about 5 Keller. Caterer, same deal, another 3K down the drain. Florist, band, photographer, more calls, more lost deposits with them too. The total damage from all forfeited vendor deposits was shaping up to be around 12 Kellers. Sucks, but cheaper than a divorce. Honeymoon, those dream first-class tickets to that fancy island resort, non-refundable. Paid about 8 Kellers for the package. Put them up for sale online. Listed them for 6 Kals, hoping to recoup something. Buyer takes over the names. Guests. This was the hardest part. Started with my parents, then hers. That was a fun call. More on that later. Then the wedding party. Then every single guest. Sent a very polite, brief email. Due to unforeseen circumstances, the wedding of Alan and Sarah on date has been canceled. We apologize for any inconvenience this may cause, particularly to those who have made travel arrangements. We will be in touch regarding gifts. Sarah started calling about halfway through my guest list. Straight to voicemail. Text started flooding in. Alan, WTF are you doing? Call me. We need to talk about this. My mom just called me screaming. You can't just cancel everything. Spoiler, I can, and did. I was just scared. I didn't mean I wanted to break up. Her last text before I turned my phone off for the night. You're overreacting. This is my wedding too. You had no right. My wedding too. Right, the one she doesn't believe in. Woke up this morning, about 50 missed calls. Voicemail full. Yeah, this is just the beginning, isn't it? Update 1 week later. Okay, so it's been a little over a week since the confession and the subsequent great cancellation. Thanks for all the comments and DMs. Good to know I'm not the only one who thinks doesn't believe in marriage is a pretty big bomb to drop days before the wedding. So, where to begin? The fallout has been something. Sarah's calls and texts continued for another day before she apparently realized I wasn't picking up. Then came the siege, Saturday. T-minus 7 days to what was wedding day. Sarah shows up at my apartment, banging on the door. I didn't answer. She yelled through the door for a good 20 minutes. Sarah, Alan, open this door. We need to talk. You can't just destroy our lives like this. Me, through the door, calmly. Sarah, I believe you said you don't believe in the life we were about to start. I took you at your word. I was just anxious. People get cold feet. It doesn't mean I don't love you. Her definition of cold feet is apparently fundamental opposition to the core concept of the event. Good to know. She eventually left, probably to cry to her mom. Sunday, Sarah's mom, Janice, calls me. Oh boy. Alan, what in God's name do you think you're doing to my daughter? She's devastated. Me, with all due respect, Janice, Sarah told me, less than 2 weeks before the wedding, that she doesn't believe in marriage. I acted on that information. She was just scared. Young brides get nervous. You're supposed to reassure her, not blow everything up. You've humiliated her. Humiliated our family. I think signing a legal contract you don't believe in is more problematic than canceling, and I feel pretty humiliated finding this out at the 11th hour. She loves you. You're just being cruel and vindictive. All that money wasted. You expect us to just eat those costs for her dress and the bridesmaids' dresses? Ah, there it is. The money. Me. I've lost about 12 Ks in non-refundable vendor deposits, Janice. The honeymoon tickets are up for sale at a loss. As for the dresses, that's unfortunately not my responsibility. You owe her. You owe US. You have to make this right. You should still give her the honeymoon. It's paid for. She deserves a break after this trauma you caused. The sheer audacity. I just said, I don't think we see eye to eye on this, Janice. Goodbye, and hung up. The supporters emerge. Sarah's maid of honor, a girl named Julia, started a group chat with me and my groomsmen, who are 100% on my side, though. Julia. Alan, this is insane. Sarah's a mess. You guys are perfect together. You have to fix this. She made a mistake. She was emotional. Then one of Sarah's other bridesmaids, Evelyn, chimed in. Yeah, Alan, she was just being honest about her philosophical doubts. It doesn't mean she wouldn't have been a good wife. You're punishing her for being vulnerable. My best man, Jesse, bless his heart, replied, philosophical doubts? Days before? That's not vulnerability. That's a contractual hazard. I just typed, the decision is final. The wedding is canceled because the bride expressed a fundamental disbelief in the premise of marriage. I'm not interested in debating it further. Left the group chat. Dirty trick attempt 1. On Tuesday, I get an email from the honeymoon resort, confirming guest name change for your upcoming stay. What? I checked the listing for the tickets. No sale confirmed yet. Called the resort. Turns out, someone claiming to be Alan's assistant Sarah had called them, said I wanted to put the honeymoon solely in her name as a surprise gift because the wedding was postponed, not canceled. And she really needed this getaway. She even tried to get them to change the contact email to hers. The resort was suspicious because I'd specifically listed the package for sale via a third-party site, and they had a note on file. They wanted my verbal confirmation. I told them absolutely not. The original booking stands, and it's for sale. The rep was very understanding and put extra security notes on the account. Sarah actively tried to steal the damn honeymoon. After blowing up the wedding, the entitlement. I sent Sarah one single text after that. Regarding the honeymoon, nice try. That was low. Don't contact me again unless it's about logistics for separating your belongings from my place. Her reply was a flurry of, I thought you'd want me to have it. And I'm so stressed, I deserve a break. And why are you being so mean? Straight to block for Sarah and her mother. I decided to hold off on blocking the bridesmaids immediately, just muted their chats for my own sanity. Evelyn's vulnerable comment was particularly galling, though. The non-refundable vendor deposits are gone, 12K. The 8K honeymoon tickets finally sold for 5.5K, so a 2.5K loss there. Better than nothing. Total hit about 14.5K and a whole lot of stress. But also, a weird sense of relief, like I dodged a bullet the size of a wrecking ball. Still haven't processed the emotional side of losing the woman I thought I'd marry. That'll come. For now, it's damage control and drawing very firm boundaries. Apparently, I don't believe in marriage means I want all the benefits and none of the perceived drawbacks, and you should pay for it all, even after I detonate the plan. Nope, not happening. Final update. Hey everyone. It's been about a month since my last update, roughly 5 weeks since D-Day, Detonation Day, as I now call it. This will be my final post on this saga. The dust has mostly settled and the crazy has reached its peak and, thankfully, started to recede. So, after I blocked Sarah and her mother, Janice, things got quiet from them directly. Too quiet from their end. I knew it wouldn't last. The gift situation. About 2 weeks ago, I started getting messages from some mutual friends and even a few of my own relatives. Apparently, Sarah and her mother Janice had launched a campaign. They were telling everyone that I was the one who got cold feet, that I had some kind of breakdown, and that Sarah was the heartbroken victim. The narrative was that I had misunderstood her philosophical musings about marriage and overreacted massively. Why this new campaign? The wedding gifts. We'd asked for cash gifts towards a house deposit, mostly. Some people had already sent checks or digital transfers. A few physical gifts had arrived. After I canceled everything, I'd emailed everyone who gave a gift, saying I'd be returning them all. Sarah and Janice, however, decided these gifts were owed to Sarah for her pain and suffering and the humiliation I'd caused her. They actually started contacting guests directly, saying things like, "Alan is being erratic, but Sarah still needs to set up her life. If you'd still like to support her, you can send your gift directly to her at her address." Some of my family members called me, confused. My Aunt Frances was like, "Alan, dear, are you all right?" Janice called saying you're having a hard time and that Sarah is trying to salvage what she can from this mess. She said the gift money would help Sarah find a new apartment since you two were planning to live together. We weren't. I owned my place. She was going to move in after the wedding. This was a new level of audacity. They weren't just entitled, they were actively trying to defraud our guests by spinning a false narrative. I wasn't going to let this stand. This wasn't about being vindictive. This was about protecting my reputation and ensuring our friends and family weren't duped. So, I crafted a very careful factual email. Subject: setting the record straight. Regarding the canceled wedding. Dear friends and family, I am writing to you again to clarify the circumstances surrounding the cancellation of my wedding to Sarah. I understand there has been some misinformation circulating, and I feel it's important to be transparent, especially concerning your generous gifts. On date, 9 days before the scheduled wedding, Sarah informed me that she does not, in fact, believe in the institution of marriage or lifelong commitment. She stated this was a genuine belief, not momentary cold feet. Given that a wedding is a public and legal declaration of precisely that commitment, I made the difficult decision to cancel the event. To proceed would have been disingenuous to myself, to Sarah, and to all of you who were prepared to witness vows that one party did not fundamentally accept. All vendor deposits, totaling approximately $12,000, were forfeited by me. The non-refundable honeymoon package, which cost $8,000, was sold at a loss. It has come to my attention that Sarah and her mother have been contacting some of you to solicit gifts directly, claiming I am unwell or that the circumstances were different. This is untrue. Any gifts received will be returned by me in full. If you sent a cash gift and would like it returned, please provide your details if I don't already have them. If you sent a physical gift, I will arrange for its return. I regret any distress or confusion this situation has caused. This was not a decision made lightly. Thank you for your understanding. I sent this email to everyone who was invited. I attached a screenshot of Sarah's original "I don't believe in marriage" text. I'd screenshotted it right after she sent more frantic texts just in case. And for good measure, a screenshot of her trying to get the honeymoon tickets transferred to her name. Boom, the aftermath. The reaction was swift. My phone blew up, but this time with messages of support. "OMG Alan, I can't believe she did that. You did the right thing. That's insane entitlement." Aunt Frances called back, furious. "That woman, and her mother. The nerve. Don't worry dear, no one is sending them a dime." Even Julia, the MOH, found my email address. We weren't connected on many platforms. And sent a message. "Alan, saw your email with the screenshots. Sarah really downplayed what she said and did. And the honeymoon thing. Yikes, I feel like an idiot. Sorry for jumping down your throat in that group chat. No apology from Evelyn, so she got the block I'd initially held off on. Good riddance." Janice apparently went ballistic. I heard from a mutual acquaintance that she called my parents screaming about how I was slandering Sarah and ruining her life. My mom, who is usually very polite, apparently told Janice that Sarah had made her bed and now needed to lie in it, and then hung up. Mic drop, Mom. Sarah, after the email went out, tried to reach me. Her number was blocked, but she sent a string of vitriolic voicemails from a new, unknown number, which I promptly blocked too, calling me every name under the sun for exposing her and turning everyone against her. No remorse, no self-awareness, just pure, unadulterated entitlement and rage that her manipulation tactics had failed. The best part? A couple who had given us a rather expensive espresso machine, a Breville Barista Express to be exact, about $700, had it delivered to my place. Sarah had apparently told them I didn't want it and they should give it to her as she loves coffee. I'd already arranged to send it back to the store for a refund to them. When they got my email, they told me to keep it. Consider it a dodged a bullet present, Alan. Enjoy the coffee. It's delicious. I've returned every single gift. Checks torn up and confirmed, digital transfers reversed, physical items sent back, or the gifter reimbursed if they preferred. Cost me a bit in postage, but worth it. Sarah is apparently staying with her parents. I heard through the grapevine she's telling anyone who'll listen that she's the victim of a cruel, unstable man. But thanks to the truth offensive, most people know what really happened. Her attempts to paint herself as a martyr largely backfired. Financially, I'm out about $15 total after everything. That includes the original losses plus postage for gifts, etc. Emotionally, it was rough for a bit. The betrayal stung more than the money. But honestly, now, mostly I feel relief. That conversation in the car was a gift, albeit a brutally delivered one. She showed me who she really was before we signed legal documents and merged our lives. I'm going on a solo trip next month with some of the money I didn't spend on the wedding. Not the fancy island, just a quiet place to hike and clear my head. Some people are just black holes of entitlement. The only way to deal with them is to cut them off and let them implode on their own. Sarah wanted a life without the commitment of marriage, but with all the trimmings paid for by me. She didn't get it. Thanks for letting me vent, Reddit. It actually helped to write it all out. Peace. She whispered to her mom, I'm going to take half his business in the divorce. While I was loading groceries in the car, I came back for the last bag and heard through the open window. I drove straight to my lawyer. When she filed papers, she found out I'd already protected everything. I, 34 male, and my wife Nicole, 32, were together 8 years, married for 5. We met at a friend's party. She was the one who made everyone laugh and remembered everyone's names. I fell hard. We had the kind of relationship people envied, or so I thought. Quick background, I started my business before we met. Nothing fancy, a digital marketing agency. Started in my apartment, eating ramen for months. By the time we married, I had 12 employees and decent revenue. Nicole worked in HR at a tech company. Good salary, but she always talked about wanting to build something together. The cracks started showing last year. She'd make comments about my business partner, Scott. Why does Scott get 30% when I'm the one supporting you at home? Thing is, Scott invested $50 when we were nothing. Nicole came into my life when we were already profitable. Then came the grocery store incident. Last month, Sunday afternoon, we're at Whole Foods, normal routine. I'm loading bags in the trunk while she sits in the passenger seat on the phone with her mom. Windows down because it's nice out. I go back for the last bag. That's when I hear it. Mom, I'm telling you, the lawyer said I can get half of everything. The business, the house, even his retirement. Yeah, I know. No, he has no idea. I've been moving money around for months. Once I file, he'll be blindsided. My hands went numb. I stood there holding organic bananas like an idiot while my wife planned my financial execution. She laughed. Actually laughed. He's so trusting. Still thinks I'm looking for jobs. I've been documenting everything. Every late night he works. Every weekend. Building my case. I put the bananas in the trunk. Closed it quiet as possible. Got in the car. Everything okay? She asked, hanging up. Your mom good? She's great. Big smile. Kissed my cheek. I drove home in silence while she scrolled Instagram, occasionally showing me reels of puppies. My mind was racing, but I kept my face neutral. Harder than you'd think. That night, she made my favorite dinner. Salmon, asparagus, the works. Kept touching my arm, asking about my day. I wanted to scream. Instead, I complimented her cooking and loaded the dishwasher. Monday morning, she left for work at 8 a.m. I called in sick and drove straight to my lawyer, Steven. Old college friend, handles all my business stuff. I need to know my options, I said after laying it all out. He pulled up our files. Okay, this is bad, but maybe not as bad as you think. California is a community property state. No joke. But remember about 3 years ago when we restructured the business into a holding company? I vaguely recalled a mountain of paperwork. What about it? At the time, Nicole was pushing hard for equity. I told you that because the business was established pre-marriage, it's separate property, but the increase in value during the marriage could be argued as community property. To protect against that, and to shield you both from liability, we drafted that postnuptial agreement. The memory clicked into place. Stephen had framed it to Nicole as a protective measure for her, shielding her personal assets from any potential business debts or lawsuits. She signed it, I said, a wave of relief washing over me. She signed it, Stephen confirmed. The postnup explicitly states that the business and all its assets, including all future growth, remain your sole and separate property. She got a clear explanation from her own lawyer before she signed. She can't touch the business. So the holding company and the postnup, they create an iron wall. She gets nothing from the business. The house is a different story. Bought during the marriage, that's community property. Your personal savings, anything earned and saved during the marriage too. I spent the next 3 hours going through everything. Stephen called in his firm's top divorce specialist. We mapped out exactly what she could and couldn't touch. The business and its equity? Protected. The house? She'd get half the equity. Joint savings? A 50-50 split. What about her moving money around? I asked. Document everything. We need statements. If she's hiding assets, that's dissipation of community assets. It's fraud, and we can use it against her. I went home and played normal husband for 2 weeks. Hardest performance of my life. Meanwhile, I froze my credit, opened a new personal account she didn't know about, moved my important documents and the signed postnup to a safe deposit box, installed security cameras, for the house security, of course, started documenting everything, found some interesting stuff. She'd opened 3 credit cards in her name, maxed them out on designer clothes and what looked like retainers for lawyers. Also confirmed she hadn't been to work in 3 weeks. Her LinkedIn showed she'd begun a new chapter as an independent consultant. That new chapter apparently involved Brandon Gary, her high school ex who supposedly sold his startup for a fortune. Found that out when she left her iPad logged into messages. I took photos of their conversations. 2 weeks of pretending. 2 weeks of I love yous, and her asking when we were going to start trying for kids. That last one really got me. Kids, while planning my financial ruin? Then she made her move. Came home one day, sat me down all serious. We need to talk, she said. I don't think this is working anymore. I played dumb. What do you mean? Did something happen? I've been unhappy for a while. You're always working. We've grown apart. I think we need to consider some time apart. Okay, I said. Let's try counseling. Her face twitched, not the response she expected. We went to 2 sessions. She spent both talking about how unsupported she felt. The therapist suggested scheduling quality time. Nicole looked like she wanted to throw a chair. After the second session, she dropped the act. This isn't working. I want a divorce. Okay, I said. If that's what you want, we can do this amicably, she said smoothly. No lawyers, just split it all down the middle. Sure, but I'll have Stephen look over anything before I sign. Just business sense. Her jaw tightened. You don't trust me? It's just a formality, Nicole. You understand. A month later, after her lawyer sent the initial filings, the fun began. The process wasn't quick. It was a slog of paperwork and waiting periods. Her lawyer's demands finally came. 50% of the business, the house, alimony, claiming she'd put her career ambitions on hold for me. My car, 70% of all liquid assets. Stephen laughed when he saw it. Ambitious, let me respond. His response was a professional, devastating work of art. A copy of the signed postnuptial agreement, highlighting the clause about the business being separate property. Agreement to a 50-50 split of the house equity, pending appraisal. A rejection of alimony, with proof of her continuous employment and salary. Proof the car was a business asset, purchased through the holding company. A simple counter of 50% of community property accounts only. Her lawyer came back aggressively, threatening to contest the postnup, claiming duress. Let them. Stephen said. Discovery goes both ways. Time to show our hand. That's when we submitted our evidence. The statements for her 3 hidden credit cards. Proof of the 3 weeks of job abandonment. Screenshots of her messages with Brandon about waiting until the divorce was final. Bank records, showing she'd moved $47,000 from our joint account to a new one in her name. Her own LinkedIn posts about her new venture, dated while she was supposedly too depressed about our marriage to work. Her lawyer went quiet for 2 weeks. The next offer was a complete capitulation. She wanted to walk away with what was in her accounts and her personal items. Counter, I told Stephen. She gets 50% of the house equity, she gets her personal property, and she gets 50% of the joint savings as of the date of separation, minus the $47 she already transferred. She had no choice but to take it. The alternative was a court battle where her fraud would be exposed, and she'd likely be on the hook for my legal fees. The day she moved out was surreal. She tried one last manipulation. "We could have worked this out if you'd just been reasonable," she said. "We could have, if you hadn't planned to ambush me." She stopped. How long have you known?" "Whole Foods parking lot. You should have closed the window." Her face went from white to red. Then she laughed. A bitter, ugly sound. "You know what? I'm glad. You were always too careful, too calculating, no passion. Brandon appreciates me. Good luck with that. I'm sure Brandon's lawyers are better than mine." She slammed the car door and left. Update 1. Been a few months since the divorce was final. Thought the drama was over. Wrong. Nicole and Brandon launched their consulting firm. And suddenly, 3 of my biggest clients were pulling out. All gave the same vague reason: restructuring our marketing approach. These were stable, multi-year accounts. I did some digging. All 3 companies had a new consultant on their books, Nicole. She was using intimate knowledge of my business, strategies I'd discussed with her at home, details about my margins, to undercut me. Called Stephen. "Is this legal?" "It's a gray area called tortious interference," he said. "Expensive to prove, and since she was never an employee, there's no non-compete. It's predatory, but not necessarily illegal." I was looking at a 400K annual revenue hole. I was furious. But then she got cocky. My senior project manager Angela called me, sounding nervous. "Boss, Nicole just reached out to me, offered me a job." It felt weird. She was asking about our client roster. This was it. "Listen carefully," I said with Stephen on speakerphone. "We need proof. Play along. Tell her you're interested but want the offer in writing. A contract." Angela was a star. She played it cool, expressed hesitation, and got Nicole to email a detailed offer. Double her salary, a signing bonus, and an explicit requirement to bring over a copy of our current client list and pending proposals. It was corporate espionage, gift-wrapped. Stephen drafted a cease and desist that was a thing of beauty. Sent it to Nicole, Brandon, and their lawyer with the email from Nicole to Angela attached. It threatened a multi-million-dollar civil suit and mentioned we'd be forwarding the evidence to the district attorney's office for criminal investigation. 3 days of radio silence. Then Brandon called me personally. "Let's be adults about this," he said. "Your girlfriend tried to poach my staff and steal my trade secrets. That's not being an adult. It's being a criminal. She's passionate, got carried away. We're prepared to make this right." They offered $250 to cover the lost contracts and make this go away. I countered with $500. We settled on $400 and a legally binding agreement that neither Nicole, Brandon, nor any company they're affiliated with would ever contact my clients or employees again. "The check will cover the lost revenue," Stephen advised. "We'll have to account for taxes, of course, but the net amount should stabilize things." Best part? Scott, my partner, had been planning his exit to start his own venture. The settlement gave me the perfect cash infusion to buy out his 30% stake. Now I own 100% of my company. Nicole's social media turned into a fire hose of inspirational quotes. Rising from the ashes, new beginnings. Stephen did some digging after the settlement. Turns out Brandon's startup sale was mostly smoke and mirrors, and his own divorce had been a war zone. This was his pattern. I'm rebuilding. The hit was real, but word gets around. Handling it professionally earned me some respect. I even partnered on a few projects with competitors who were impressed I'd fought back and won. Still hurts. 8 years is a long time. Therapy helps. The house feels empty. I think I'll sell it. Too many ghosts. Update 2. It's been 6 months. Business is up 20% from before the drama. I've hired 3 new people. Things were finally feeling normal. Then last Tuesday, my receptionist buzzes. "There's a Nicole here to see you." My stomach turned to ice. Tell her I'm unavailable and to leave the premises. She says she'll wait. I checked the security feed. It was her, but she looked rough. Wrinkled designer clothes, no makeup, hair a mess. I went down to the lobby. You have to leave, I said, keeping my voice low. You're violating the agreement. Please, she whispered, tears in her eyes. 5 minutes. It's not about business. I need help. Against my better judgment, I took her to a small conference room. I left the door open. Angela was right outside. She started sobbing. Not the manipulative tears from before. This was ugly, desperate crying. Brandon left me, she choked out. He cleaned out the business accounts. He said I committed fraud against him by not delivering the clients I promised. His lawyers are threatening me. I just stared. I know I don't deserve it. I know what I did was awful, but I'm scared. I have nowhere to go. My mom won't talk to me. Our old friends won't take my calls. I just need a loan, to get a lawyer, to get back on my feet. You want me to pay for a lawyer to fight the guy you conspired with to ruin me? I was stupid. He made it all sound so easy. He coached me on what to do, what to say. He said you'd just roll over. No. Hope died in her eyes. It was replaced by something else. Something ugly. You have that 400 Qley. That's my money. I earned that settlement. There was the Nicole I knew. That money was for damages you caused. You earned nothing. You destroyed everything. I gave you 8 years, she screamed. And you got half the equity in our home and half our savings. We're done. I stood to leave. She grabbed my arm. I'll go to the press. I'll tell them you were emotionally abusive, that you planned this whole thing to leave me destitute. I will destroy your reputation. I pulled out my phone and hit record. Say that again, loudly, for the camera. She let go, her face crumbling. I didn't. You did. And this is why I will never help you. You haven't changed. Security escorted her out, screaming that I had ruined her life. Her mom called me a week later. Apologized for everything. She confirmed she'd cut Nicole off. I raised her to be better than this, she cried. I don't know who she is anymore. Update 3. Last update, I promise, this one is the real ending. 3 weeks after Nicole's scene at my office, I get a call from an investigator with the DA's Economic Crimes Unit, a woman named Brenda Ruth. We need to talk about Brandon Gary, she said. We understand he and your ex-wife attempted to interfere with your business. My heart pounded. What's this about? Mr. Gary has been on our radar for some time. We've been building a case against him for serial fraud. His MO is to find individuals in contentious divorces, coach them on how to hide and seize assets, and then when the divorce is final, he steals the settlement money from them under the guise of a joint business venture. Your ex-wife, Miss Scott, appears to be his latest victim. I actually laughed. She's not a victim. She was his co-conspirator. Legally, she can be both. We have bank records. She received approximately $340,000 from the sale of your home and her share of savings. She transferred all of it to Brandon for startup capital. He promised her 50% of a company that barely existed and had no other funds. He cleaned her out. The irony was so thick you could choke on it. We need your testimony, the investigator continued. Your story and the evidence you have helps us establish his pattern of criminal behavior. It's crucial for the case against him. What's in it for me? The satisfaction of putting a predator behind bars, and the public record will reflect what he and your ex-wife tried to do. I testified. I gave them everything. The Whole Foods recording on my phone, the story of the post-nup, the email from Nicole to Angela, all of it. Brandon was arrested 2 months ago. The $30 million startup sale was a lie. He was a house of cards, funding each con with money from the last victim. Nicole was compelled to testify against him. I watched her on the stand, admitting under oath to everything she did to me, all while trying to paint herself as Brandon's naive victim. The prosecutor had a field day. So, Miss Scott, you first committed fraud against your husband in the hopes of illegally seizing his assets? Yes. And only when your co-conspirator defrauded you did you decide that fraud was wrong? Yes. Brandon Gary got 8 years, third strike. Here's the kicker. As a documented victim of his fraud, Nicole was entitled to restitution. After the court seized and liquidated Brandon's remaining assets, you know how much she got back? $1,200. She lost $340,000 and got back the price of a decent dinner for 2. She called me one last time. From a blocked number. Her voice was hollow. I hope you're happy. I'm not happy, Nicole. I'm not anything about you anymore. I'm just done. I did love you once, she whispered, before all this. Maybe? But you loved the idea of his money more. I just wanted to be secure. You were secure. You had a husband who loved you, a beautiful home, a great life. You threw it away chasing a shortcut. There was a long silence. I'm moving back to Ohio. My mom agreed to let me stay for a while. I wish you luck. Justin? If I hadn't listened to him, would we have made it? That's something we'll never know. She hung up. I haven't heard from her since. The story came out in the local business journal, a small piece about a local con artist getting put away. My name wasn't mentioned, but the details were clear enough. My reputation was restored. Business is thriving. I bought a new house, smaller, but it's all mine. And I'm dating someone new. A teacher named Anna. She finds marketing boring and would rather I be home for dinner than close a big deal. It's wonderful. Some lessons you only need to learn once. Trust your gut, get a good lawyer, and never underestimate the value of a well-timed post-nup. The best revenge isn't getting even, it's building a life so good they become a forgotten chapter. She whispered to my best friend, he still doesn't suspect anything about us, at my birthday party. I said, wrong again. What happened when I played the recording to everyone made both of them leave town. I, 27 male, heard Valerie whisper those words to Corey at my own birthday party. 28 friends and family members in my backyard, fairy lights strung up everywhere, and these two thought they were being slick by the cooler. He still doesn't suspect anything about us. Wrong. I'd known for 3 weeks. See, Valerie forgot that our smart doorbell doesn't just record the front porch, it picks up audio from the driveway too. 3 weeks ago, she told me she was going to her sister's. The doorbell caught her telling Corey, I'll just say I'm at Becca's again, before they drove off in his car. But I'm getting ahead of myself. The party was actually beautiful. My mom spent hours decorating. Valerie played the perfect girlfriend, even gave a toast about how lucky she was to have me. Corey, my best friend since middle school, led everyone in happy birthday. Oscar-worthy performances, both of them. I waited until cake time. Everyone gathered around, phones out to record me blowing out the candles. That's when I stood up with my beer. Before I make a wish, I got something to share. I pulled out my phone. Val and Corey got me an early birthday present. Want to hear it? Valerie's face tightened. Babe, what are you doing? Just sharing the love. I hit play on my phone, connected to the Bluetooth speaker. Her voice clear as day. God, I'm getting tired of sneaking around. When are you going to tell him? Corey's response, after his birthday. I don't want to ruin it. You sure he doesn't know? Nah, he's clueless. Thinks I'm at the gym when I'm with you. I stopped it there. The backyard went cemetery quiet. That was from Tuesday, I said. Here's one from last week. Next recording, Valerie laughing. I can't believe we're doing this in his bed. Corey, he's at work till 6. We got time. Still, it's kinda hot though. You're twisted. You love it. Someone dropped a plastic cup. My Aunt Gloria whispered, oh my God. Valerie stepped forward. Derek, let me explain. Nah, I'm good. I turned to the crowd. Anyone else want to hear more? I got 3 weeks worth. My cousin Tony actually raised his hand. Play that shit. But Corey grabbed my phone, just snatched it right out of my hand. You're embarrassing yourself, bro. Am I? I pulled out my backup phone. Yeah, I had a backup. Good thing I uploaded everything to the cloud. Derek, stop. Valerie was using her teacher voice. She taught 4th grade, thought she could manage me like a kid. We should talk about this privately. Why? You didn't keep it private. You brought it into my house, my bed, my life. My mom stepped between us. Everyone should probably go. No, I said. They came for a show. Let's give them one. I hit play on the next file. This one was from my laptop. They didn't know I'd installed monitoring software after the doorbell incident. Corey's voice over video chat. I feel bad sometimes. About what? Valerie's voice. Derek, he's been good to me. Then why are you fucking his girlfriend? Because I've wanted you since high school. He knew that. And he still dated me. Dick move, honestly. So this is payback? This is me taking what should have been mine. My dad had to physically hold Corey back from grabbing the second phone. You recorded private conversations? Corey shouted. That's illegal. In my own house? Nope, one-party consent state, buddy. Look it up. Valerie was crying now. Not sad tears, angry ones. You've known for 3 weeks and didn't say anything? Wanted to see how far you'd go. Answer? Pretty damn far. This is entrapment. That's not what that word means, Val. You're thinking of consequences. The party dispersed fast after that. Some people tried to comfort me, others just wanted to escape the awkwardness. Qley attempted to approach me, but my brothers formed a wall. Valerie went inside to grab her purse. She came back out swinging it at my head. You ruined everything, I ducked. I ruined it? That's rich. We were going to tell you. When? After the wedding? Kids? When exactly were you planning to come clean? There wasn't supposed to be a wedding. She actually stomped her foot. Qley was going to convince you we weren't right for each other. By screwing you? Interesting strategy. Qley finally spoke up. You don't deserve her. Clearly not. I deserve better. You're such a victim, he spat. Poor Derek, always getting the short end. Bro, you're literally screwing my girlfriend and I'm playing victim? You took her when you knew I wanted her. She's not a Pokemon card, Qley. She chose to date me, just like she chose to cheat with you. Weird how she's got agency until it's convenient for you. My mom ushered the remaining guests out. Within an hour, it was just me, empty cups, and a half-eaten birthday cake. Update 1. The entitlement ramped up to 11. First, Valerie tried to come back to the house. Not to apologize, to get her stuff. At 3 a.m., with a U-Haul and Qley and his brother. Like they were gonna rob me in stealth mode. My Ring doorbell, the irony, alerted me. I watched them trying to pick the lock for a good 5 minutes before I turned on the floodlights. Evening, folks. Little late for moving day. Valerie jumped. I need my things. At 3 a.m., with a lockpick set. It's my home too. It's my house. You pay no rent, no mortgage, no utilities. You're a guest who overstayed. I have tenant rights. You have Jack, but nice try. Qley stepped forward. Just let her get her stuff, man. Sure, during daylight, with a police escort, like normal people. We are normal people, Valerie screeched. Normal people don't bring a crew to break into houses at 3 a.m., Val. Qley's brother Darren tried to be intimidating. Look, we can do this easy or hard. I held up my phone. Streaming live to cloud storage. You really want to catch a B&E charge for some clothes and a flat iron? They left, but not before Valerie screamed that I'd pay for humiliating her. Qley peeled out so hard he left rubber on my driveway. The next morning, both their moms called me. That's right, they sent their mommies after me. Valerie's mom, Janet. Derek, honey, don't you think you overreacted? Your daughter was screwing my best friend in my bed. What's the appropriate reaction? But did you have to tell everyone? I didn't knock on doors. I shared it with people already at my party. You humiliated her. She humiliated herself. I just provided audio. She's had to call out of work. Sounds like a personal problem. The other teachers are gossiping. Again, personal problem. You need to tell people it was a misunderstanding. It wasn't though. Pretty clear understanding. Your daughter's a cheater. She hung up on me. Qley's mom, Diane, tried a different approach. Sweetheart, you and Qley have been friends forever. Had been, past tense. Don't throw away 15 years over a girl. He threw it away when he banged my girlfriend. Language, sorry, when he made passionate love to my girlfriend. Better? You boys need to work this out. Diane, your son filmed himself screwing my girlfriend in my house while eating my food, using my Netflix account. The disrespect is astronomical. He's very sorry. He's sorry he got caught. Maybe if you'd been a better boyfriend. I hung up. The audacity. Then came the social media posts. Oh, they thought they were clever. Valerie posted about toxic relationships and when someone violates your privacy. Qley went with fake friends who can't handle truth. I didn't respond, didn't need to. The birthday party guests did it for me. My cousin Tony commented on Valerie's post. Didn't you violate his bed though? My coworker Brad on Qley's. Truth? Like you were at the gym? The ratio was beautiful, but the real kicker came that afternoon. I got a letter from a lawyer. Valerie was demanding 3 months to find a new place while living in my house, $5,000 for emotional distress, a written apology for defamation, deletion of all recordings. I laughed so hard I cried. Then I called my own lawyer. Update 2, y'all. The entitlement escalated to galaxy brain levels. First, the legal stuff. My lawyer basically laughed at their demands, sent back a letter that essentially said lol no in legal speak, reminded them that she has no tenant rights, recording in my own home is legal, truth is a defense against defamation. Emotional distress? For getting caught cheating? GTFO. Their lawyer dropped them as clients, but that didn't stop the crazy train. Valerie's next move? She tried to get me fired. She called my boss claiming I was dangerous and had surveillance equipment to spy on women. Problem? My boss is a woman who's been cheated on, who was at the birthday party. Boss lady called me in. Derek, Valerie just called. Want to guess how that went? Not well for her? I told her that if she contacts this office again, I'll pursue harassment charges. Also, you're getting that promotion. Wait, what? Anyone who handles personal crisis with that much composure deserves to lead a team. Meanwhile, Corey was having his own meltdown. He started showing up at our mutual friends' houses, trying to explain his side. His side, according to my buddy Trevor. Derek was always jealous of me. He knew I loved Val but swooped in anyway. This was just the universe correcting itself. Trevor's response: the universe made you raw dog her in his bed? You don't understand cosmic justice. Bro, you sound unhinged. The best part? Corey started a GoFundMe. I shit you not. Help me rebuild after toxic friendship. Goal, $10,000. Reason, lost housing, emotional trauma, and unfair social persecution. Raised $3.50 from his mom. Someone screenshot it and sent it to me. The comments were brutal. Maybe don't bang your friend's girl. This the dude from the birthday party? LMAO. Cosmic justice needs $10 apparently. He deleted it after 24 hours. Then came the extinction. Learned that term from you guys. They coordinated one last attempt. Showed up together at my job, in the parking lot, with flowers and an apology card. Security called me. Mr. Derek, there's a couple here says they need to apologize. They can apologize to the wind. I'm busy. They're refusing to leave. Then call the police. I watched from my office window as they argued with security. Valerie actually lay down on the ground at one point, like a toddler. Corey tried to film it, probably for sympathy posts. Cops showed up, gave them trespassing warnings. The whole office watched. Someone made popcorn. But here's where it gets really good. Remember how I said I had 3 weeks of evidence? Well, I'd been busy. See, when you know your girlfriend is cheating, you start noticing things, like how she's suddenly protective of her phone, how she has new underwear you've never seen, how she's working late, but her classroom lights are off. So I did some digging. Legal digging. Public records kind. Turns out, this wasn't Valerie's first rodeo. Found a post from her ex from 2 years ago warning about her cheating. Found another from a woman whose husband she'd pursued. Girl had a pattern. I made a simple website, nothing fancy, just a timeline. Public posts only. Her own words. Screenshots of her DMing married men. Her TikToks about following your heart no matter what. Called it Receipt Repository. Didn't use her last name. Didn't need to. Sent the link to exactly 3 people. Her principal, she'd been deeming the married PE teacher, Corey's ex-girlfriend who she'd sworn she barely knew, and the neighborhood Facebook group admin, where she'd posted about me being controlling while actively cheating. The dominoes fell fast. Final update. They're gone. Both of them. Let me explain how it went down. After the website went live, Valerie's principal called her in. Not for the cheating, for pursuing a married colleague. The PE teacher's wife also worked at the school. In administration. Awkward. They didn't fire her. But they made it clear she'd be under scrutiny. Every interaction monitored. No alone time with male staff. Basically made her job unbearable. She lasted 4 days before resigning. The neighborhood Facebook thing blew up differently. See, Valerie had been painting herself as a victim to anyone who'd listen. But the admin, bless you Linda, posted, "Interesting how stories change when evidence emerges." Attached was Valerie's post history, including one from the day after I found out while I was being calm, where she bragged about getting away with it, and men are so oblivious. The comments went nuclear. 3 separate women posted about her sliding into their husband's DMs. One had screenshots of Val calling her insecure for asking her to stop. Corey's situation imploded parallel to this. His ex-girlfriend, Marissa, sent me a message after getting the link. This explains so much. Turns out Valerie had been working on Corey while he was with Marissa. Convinced him Marissa was toxic and holding him back. Classic isolation tactics. Marissa put everything on blast. 3 years of messages. Valerie playing puppet master. Corey eating it up because he wanted to believe he was some cosmic victim. His friend group, already shaky after the party, completely severed ties. His gym bros found out I may have had Trevor accidentally let it slip during squat day. Dude got iced out of every social circle. The final straw came from an unexpected source. Valerie's sister, Becca. Remember her? The alibi? Becca messaged me, "I'm done covering for her. Check your email." Forwarded me years of messages. Every time Val used her as cover, every lie. Including some I didn't know about. Apparently she'd been shopping for my replacement for months, had a whole roster of backups. But the best message? From 2 weeks before my birthday. "Once I get Derek to propose, I'll lock it down and see who else is interested. Corey's already hooked, but I want options." I sent that one to Corey. Just that one. No comment needed. His response was unhinged. Showed up at my house at midnight, drunk, crying. Not angry, broken. She played me too? Yup, but she said she loved me. She says a lot of things. I threw away our friendship for nothing? You threw it away for pussy, Corey. Whether she meant it or not doesn't change that. He threw up in my bushes. I called him an Uber. Haven't heard from him since. Valerie tried one more play. Showed up with her dad. Her dad. This man tried to intimidate me into taking the website down. "You're ruining my daughter's life." She ruined it herself. I just documented it. No man will want her now. Good men wouldn't want her anyway. She targets the married ones. I'll sue. For what? Posting her public social media? Good luck. He left defeated. Valerie was crying in the car. Real tears this time. Last I heard, Valerie moved back with her parents 2 hours away. Deleted all social media. Corey went to stay with his brother across the state. Also dark on socials. The house is peaceful now. I kept the birthday decorations up for a week just because I could. Ate the entire cake myself. Changed the locks, obviously. Got a new bed too. The old one had bad juju. My buddies threw me a re-birthday party last weekend. No speeches, no recordings, just beer, BBQ, and a cake that said congratulations on taking out the trash. My mom still asks if I'm okay. I am. Losing a girlfriend sucks. Losing a best friend sucks more. But keeping either would have been worse. The website's still up. Public service, really. Sometimes I get messages from women thanking me. Apparently Val had quite the reputation I didn't know about. Plot twist ending. Marissa, Corey's ex, reached out last week. We're grabbing coffee Tuesday. Not a date, just two people comparing notes on mutual disasters. She seems cool though. Funny how the universe actually works versus how Corey thought it did. Anyway, that's my story. Birthday party from hell, but I got the best gift possible. Freedom from two toxic people who deserved each other in the worst way. To anyone dealing with similar, document everything. Stay calm. Let them hang themselves. The best revenge is just revealing the truth. Peace out. Edit. Since some asked, yes, the doorbell really does pick up driveway audio. Nest cameras are worth every penny. Also, to the person who DM'd asking if this is legal, check your local laws, but one-party consent states let you record in your own home. Knowledge is power, friends.